Hello there, and welcome to the Outback, where we play TTRPGs and have a hoot. On YouTube. Here we just talk about things and play games. And hang out with you lot. How is everyone? What's up? It's been a bitty since we've had the three of us in for just a chitty chatty.
Right.
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 In a second.
It definitely has been.
Thing.
Before we hop too much into that though, so we can address the wonderful fact that Ben's wearing some branded logo on their shirt that we actually get to say, hey, that's our sponsor. So I'm going to read on that little wonderful thingy for it. What voice do I want to do today? Maybe I should. I don't actually know. I've been hopping into a southern one a lot recently. Why not? Let's do that. You need guidance on life, auto, or homeowners insurance? Contact Kate Woolman State Farm for all your insurance needs. Rates can be more affordable than you think. And protecting what matters most to you is important. Call Ben at 719-539-6265 and he'll set you up with what you need. That's 719-539-6265. And it's that Ben right there.
That one.
That one right there.
Okay.
Yeah, two thumbs.
2 thumbs. Good job.
Thumbs
What
up.
has 2 thumbs and works for
Fantastic.
State Farm? That guy.
That guy.
This guy.
Oh boy. Well, that aside. We've been up to anything fun and new recently?
Moving.
That's...
I might actually get my internet turned on tomorrow.
What?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I called in because I was like, hey, I haven't even gotten word on a service call, like when it's going to happen. I've been told it's supposed to happen next week. And they were like, let me figure that out for you. And they came back and they were like, you got any time tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I do. So
Dang.
it's the beauty of being a 5-minute walk from work.
Mm-hmm. That's really close, actually. That's really good.
It's very close. I'm like 2 blocks. So dope. It's the closest I've ever been to anywhere I've ever worked in my entire life. Except for when I was younger, I worked as a video store manager. That was pretty close to my house growing up. That was pretty dope. I just walk on over, manage a video store for like 8 hours. It was sick.
So, my father's company had a home office and I worked for him as a child. Does that count? Because technically I worked at home, but I never actually worked at home. That's the thing, is the work always happened miles and miles away. But technically the office was the house.
Home office?
Yeah.
Did you ever do any work at home?
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
That
Okay,
counts.
yeah. Okay,
That counts.
It counts.
So...
I will say that I did remote work for a while there. During the pandemic, I did a couple of years of remote work, and that was nice. Waking up and then like just in literally just sweatpants, walking up to my computer in my office, and then starting work and just taking calls and living my life that way, having anime on one screen and then just like chillaxing and doing my job on the others. That was nice. So, having a job very close is very nice.
Man, you know what I found out? So I was a teacher right after the pandemic. And I found out that kids were playing video games on the screen in front of them, and they would like have their laptop like this, and they just have their controller in their hands, and then just be like looking at that, and then like looking at that, and then looking at that, and then looking at that. It's like, damn. Going to school during the pandemic must have been sick. Because you didn't.
So if they would have been pro gamers, they would have put a lag switch on their laptop for school, and it would have automatically made their video crunchy.
Oh.
You get
That
that? You
too.
get. I'm just saying. So lag switches are actually a gamer device that you take and put on your computer, because what it'll do is it will intentionally lag your computer for a second so that like somebody misses hitting you. Right? That's the idea of a lag switch, is you're not where they think you are because of the two different instances of the server not meeting for a second, and it's supposed to give you an advantage, but fucking lag switch your kids need to be, I'm telling you, man, fucking throw a lag switch on
Could that get
your
you
laptop.
like
Oh, that's
banned or
totally
something?
bannable. Yes, it's totally bannable. It's like anything else. If they find out you're lag switching, that's bannable. But the problem is that lag switching does kind of seem very much like actual lag. It's supposed to mimic actual lag, but like any other computer program, like true random is very difficult. So you can eventually pick it up. It's kitty. Yes. Okay. So more kitties. Okay. So we want to talk about kitties then. Kitties. They're coned right now. My children are coned right now, but they are hanging out. So yes,
Actually
there's
having a
lots
good
of
time with each other.
Right. Oh, they're twins,
good.
and they love snuggling, so they will do that all day. But yeah, no. I saw that Anima Raytak was like kitties. I'm like, yes, lots of kitties on the show today.
I wish I could see chat. I will live vicariously through you.
I will let you know. I have it up.
Yes.
You will one day acquire internet, I believe.
Yes. And hopefully that day is tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Look, I, at this point in my life, live by a few very simple rules, but one of which is hope for the best, but plan for the worst. Just saying.
There we go.
So
what
I don't need to tell an insurance guy that.
What I want to know though is am I getting prorated for the lack of internet that I've had?
Yeah, you should.
You should.
I would argue
absolutely should.
Or not April 8th, May 8th.
May 8th, you've been out of
25% discount.
They should prorate the to the date. They have what each day will cost. So they'll prorate.
You can probably get it negotiated down, being like, "This is a shit show." What the? You just have to Kyle at them really hard.
You have to. I call it chatting. You have to chat at them.
Chatting.
Yeah.
Nah, Chad's more like Chad's like Giga Chad. So Chad's too much of a positive term in today's vernacular.
See, I might have had some leeway and some room to argue if I gave them the right address to start with.
So you got you.
Yeah, my landlord gave me some buku address that's like.
Well, then your
doesn't
landlord
actually exist. Yeah, and then because I called like 3 or 4 days ago, and then like got it all settled out, figured out the right address, got it confirmed. They looked it up, like all this everything. And so they were like telling me it was going to be another 9 days. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And they were like, but sometimes if you get service to call, they will negotiate down and you can get something that pops up as available that day. Like someone cancels or something like that, you might get lucky. Problem is, I never got the service call. And so I was like, yo, never got the service call. Just checking in. That's all I'm doing.
Right.
And they put me on hold for like a solid 3 minutes, and then bam, it was like Magic Town. They were like, we've got like 4 slots available tomorrow. And I was like, oh, hey.
So
yes.
That's so, and I think that's a really good point though, is, I mean, like, anecdotes are inherently anecdotes, right? There's certain things like you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar, things like that. I have always so often I am so pissed off calling into some of these places, and I know people who rage real hard, but I don't. Instead, I make friends, because you know who wants to do something for you? A friend. Do you know who doesn't want to do something for you? Somebody who you just yelled at for 30 minutes. You know what I'm
Right?
saying? So I make a friend.
See,
I make a friend quick.
what was nice was the first time I called in, like 4 days ago. Um, the chick like gave me her name and phone number to like reach her at, like at the center. And so I called
Mhm.
in, and they're like, "Can you give us the name of the person you're trying to reach?" And so I did, and bam, it was like it was pretty cool. And
Nice.
for their sake, I never had to learn their last name. That was what was really nice.
I see.
Like, so if they're like trying to retain their privacy or whatever, it's, you know.
Right.
And I was able to talk to the same person who had touched on it before. So I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
always
I
nice.
felt like service wise, that was pretty smart on their part. It worked out pretty good. And on my part, like you said, I wasn't an ass, so they were willing to give me their
I think the only
information.
time I went after somebody, and I didn't even do that. It was actually funny. We were talking about T-Mobile earlier, phone
Mm.
carriers, things like that, and I had
By
called
the
my
way,
phone
any of the
carrier.
companies we mentioned, if you want to sponsor us so that we mention you
That's
in
right.
delightful ways only, do.
Yeah.
Right.
We're
Phone
open.
carriers are great. I love T-Mobile, by the way.
Same.
So my phone carrier, when my wife and I first got together, though, I had gotten some phone. It was brand new. I think it was the Samsung. It was the kick, the Sidekick.
Oh, I know that one. Yeah,
Oh
Right.
yeah.
yeah,
Because it had the screen that
sidekick.
flipped, and it was the first one that was going touchscreen, like, or not touchscreen, like smartphone, because they were always kind of smartphones ish. I got one, and I had to replace it for software issues like 4 times
Ooh.
in 6 months, and I I was so mad because, like, at this point, like, the work number, my the main work number coming into the business for me and my dad was forwarded every once in a while to my phone, and if I didn't get a phone call, like, we're missing work. Like, they were so I called up my phone carrier, and I get whoever it was on the other line, and I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm gonna say some things to you, and I'm gonna try to explain myself, and I just need you to hear me out." And she could hear me shaking, but I was calm. I was calm, but I was so angry I was shaking. And she just sat there and listened as I explained to her that this would be fixed today. That I explained everything I had gone through. I had done everything that they had asked. And in 6 months, I'd gotten 4 or 5 new phones. And I was not going to do that again. They were going to give me a new phone. And I don't care what their other. They said that, oh, we can only stay within the brand. You have to get a Samsung. Like, I never want to have a Samsung again. I need a different phone. And I explained myself very thoroughly to her. And when I was done, I heard her take a deep breath, and she did the best customer service voice I've ever heard, and just was like, "I really appreciate that you're staying calm with me. Sounds like you've been through a lot. I'm gonna fix this for you today." And then just went through and fixed it, because I didn't yell once. I was very calm,
Yeah.
but I was very stern about, "Ma'am, this will be fixed today one way or another. It needs to be fixed today. And you haven't been involved in this at all, but you're the person who answered, and you have to understand where I'm coming from. You have to." And she did. She fixed it. I got an LG phone, and honest to God, I've had LG phones all the way up until they stopped making phones. So, like, I seriously,
Do
I
you
had
remember
an
the chocolate 2? That was
I
so good.
I don't have. So if this was my old desk from the old house, I'd be able to reach up and grab one. I have.
What?
Yeah, I remember
No,
that. I
not the
remember that
chocolate,
one.
not the chocolate. I have the last phone that LG released, and it was their flagship phone. It was the LG. It was called the LG Wing. Now they made two different wings. Old school wing was a long time ago, and it had the screen that kind of flipped so that you had a larger screen you could text on.
Ah.
Well, this was supposed to be the new age one. You could flip the touch screen. The screen would flip, and then the screen on the bottom would be a half screen that you would have. Right? So I have like a few. You'd have to look it up to see exactly what it is, but it's called the LG Wing, and it was the last one that they have, and I actually have two of them.
That's a cool looking phone.
It's a really cool looking phone. Both of their screens are broken, and I have to get them repaired, but they work. So I have a few different. I have a few different. What's that? I asked Ashley to bring me a coffee, and then my mom messaged me back. It might be morning before it gets there, because apparently I asked my mom for a coffee, who lives 1,000 miles away. Good job, Dave. Sorry, that was distracting. But yeah, so I actually collected, like, I liked LG so much, I ended up collecting their phones for a long time. I have some of their flagship phones from throughout the years, and I don't collect shit. So like, but it's just kind of funny how things turn out from going from, and I've never owned a Samsung product since. I think I have my work phone might be a Samsung, but I've never purchased a Sam. So one of those is talking about the idea of how you can be turned off from a brand by just one software mistake. But like, I mean, having somebody who can go through and be a good customer service agent and just be like, hey, I'm gonna fix this for you. You know, there's something to be said about that.
I'm pretty tenacious, that's for sure.
Yes.
I'm always like, it's never not fixable. Like,
right.
There's always a way. There's always a way. You just got to find it.
Right, and
sometimes the way sucks.
Right.
But there's a way. And so sometimes the way is a way. But that's okay.
Right. I mean, if nobody can do anything, that's that too. But like, you know, yeah. I mean, you're not even gonna get somebody. I know, like, when I have, because I haven't done a whole lot of like inbound call stuff, but like my work from home job, that was inbound calls, and sometimes you'd have, I was technical support. Sometimes you have people calling in and be really fucking angry, and I tell you what, man, it's not that I didn't help them, because I did. I still want to get them to the thing. I want to provide best customer service, but man, those guys who were like super sweet to me on the phone, like I went above and beyond. I'd call them next day to check on them, make sure the machine's still working, all that good shit, you know? So it's not that necessarily people will not do their job, but maybe they won't, maybe they'll just do their job. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Anyhow, I hope you get internet.
Yes.
Maybe. Maybe.
Hopefully.
I would say hard maybe.
Hopefully. I'm just hoping there's not some kind of service issue that's random or something, because I am smack dab downtown, and all my neighbors have internet, so I'm hoping I have internet.
What's the provider down there? Is that a Comcast
Spectrum?
Xfinity? Oh, it's Spectrum. Okay.
Yeah. And they have gigabit speeds down here. That's what I had at my old place. So
that's hardcore considering.
Yeah, considering where they're at.
Yeah.
In the middle of freaking nowhere.
I didn't have gigabit speeds in La Junta, let me tell you that. Oh boy. Yeah, that place was middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
If you really want to do middle of nowhere, there's definitely some middle of nowhere around.
But
what was that? Courage the Cowardly Dog. They lived in the middle of nowhere.
That's
middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, probably.
That's right. That's factual.
Actually, I'm pretty sure the place. I could be incredibly wrong on this, but I believe I heard somewhere that the place that Courage the Cowardly Dog lived in was actually called Nowhere, and it is an actual real place in the middle of nowhere.
That sounds right.
Which, I mean, I'd believe it. I would even believe if they told me that it was based off of a random couple in there too that had a dog.
Well, so there is a town
scared
in Arizona called WHY. There's only like 500 people who live there. There's another one on your way out to just past Wickenburg called Congress, Arizona. Congress, Arizona, I don't know. I think it's on a map, but I don't know that it exists anywhere else than a map, because when you drive through it, you see a sign that says "Welcome to Congress," and then like a mile later, he says "Now leaving Congress," and you didn't see anything. Like, there was nothing there.
It's like the edge of the town. I'm on the edge of town here.
Have you seen Uranus? I think it's in New Mexico.
I'd believe it. There's a Neptune, New Jersey.
Town, right? But it's Uranus chocolate. It's a fudge packing.
It's a chocolate. Chocolate.
Well, so they make it's Uranus, Missouri. It's along historic Route 66.
Nice, nice. So straight shot.
But there's the Uranus fudge factory. There's lots of signs. I'd seen it recently, but there's lots of different signs as you're coming in. So like Uranus is expanding. Please excuse our mess. Staff must wash hands every time, even if you are 99% sure there's no pee on them. all sorts of
the
fudge
factory.
Stuff, but there's the Uranus fudge factory.
Uranus fudge factory. Yep, yep. That's looks like it's the most famous one.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing. You know, we'll pack your fudge at Uranus. You know, it's been good times.
That's amazing. Good stuff. Oh, it's like in Colorado. There's Alt, which is literally an abbreviation of the real name of the town. A unique little town.
Oh.
That's
interesting.
And it's so freaking small. All that's in there is just a bunch of grain silos and farm territory.
So unique.
It's so unique. And I think there's one strip of buildings, but I never drove down it. I just always drove through it.
See, what they need is the largest amalgamation of paper clips or something.
Largest amalgamation of paper clips.
Just a wad. Giant 5,000-pound wad of paper clips.
Alright, well, we've been going on for 30-ish minutes. Gabbing about town names and providers and such. Ooh.
Yes.
Fun fact.
I love
the town
facts.
of Nowhere, Oklahoma is 9 hours and 48 minutes from Superior, Colorado.
Oh my gosh, it is. So it is a little town, and it is in Oklahoma.
It is a town in Oklahoma, but when you pull it up on a map, if you look up Nowhere and you pull it up on a map, it is not named. It physically does not show up on the map, but it is there, theoretically.
Welcome to Nowhere.
But it is not. So I was curious, so I thought I would look it up.
Fair, yeah.
Anywho, that's your fun fact of the day. Not that it was actually fun. It was a fact.
Huh.
I mean,
that is fun. Well, actually, I enjoy it. I enjoyed random little locations that you never thought could actually exist. Yes.
They do exist.
They do exist. Well, has anyone done anything fun or interesting in their TTRPG worlds
So,
to get ourselves a little
my
more
first
topic?
campaign is coming to a close. I am in the middle of what
Yes.
the DM has said is the final fight. We will go through this fight, figure out how it's going to end, and when it's over, this campaign is over, and we get to. I already built my character for the next campaign in this world, and I'm ready to go. Almost all of us have, so we're getting a few new players, and we are going to move on to the next one. I have a character that I've played now from level 3 all the way up to level 20.
That is insanity.
Nice.
It only took me 3 years because my DM is an absolute nutcase. But also we play every Saturday for 6 to 8 hours. We figured it. I did math on it, and we've put so many hours on it. I can't remember. I wish I actually had the statistic, but I mean, we've played was it 52 weeks in a year, and we've been playing for. That's 52 work weeks in a year. There's actually like 54 or 5. But if you think about that, we've missed maybe on average throughout the year a month and a half, maybe 2 months worth of 6 to 8 sessions within a year we miss. Shit, that's 4,550 sessions total that we've done at 6 to 8 hours a pop. That's 1,200 hours of gameplay. So it's finally come to a close. So we're gonna see how it ends and how all of that is gonna affect the entire next campaign, because the next campaign is in the same world.
So how badly on a scale of 1 to holy crap, why are we going back to the same world, did you mess up this world?
Well, so the thing is this has been because it's Buddha, right? This is his persistent world, and we actually we did some things, because it's based on Earth during pre-pandemic 2019. Was when that's when the clock started, and it's kind of alternate reality where that didn't happen. So it's not like some fantasy world necessarily. It's we based it on the city that it all takes place in or starts in is called Crescent Cove, and he kind of came up with the idea of it, but then I actually found a Crescent City exactly where he talked about Crescent Cove being. It's in northern, on the coast of northern California near Oregon.
Holy crap,
look
I
up
know
Crescent.
that place. Yeah,
Crescent City. So he just made up this idea of this place called Crescent Cove. So that's what we've been calling the series is the Crescent Cove series.
That's cool.
This was all based in a world that was parallel to, because all worlds he ever plays in are always tied together.
Mm-hmm.
So this is tied into his personal playground called Pocket. And Pocket is like its own universe. It's a small planet. It's very much a fantasy place. But we went through. So the last thing that happened in one of his campaigns there, it got really bad. They did not save it. We had a chance to reset the entire world and give it another chance, and we did. But I didn't want to kill everyone, so I brought up the idea of making a copy. So we took and made a copy of the planet that the Pocket Dimension was based on, and basically substituted it where Pluto is in our solar system. So now we've been calling it Pocket Pluto. But the new campaign starts there, on what is ostensibly an absolutely destroyed, worn, torn planet still, because we brought it over, but we've dipped since then. Like, we work with some people who are on this floating landmass called Fenris that isn't like on the surface, so it's not really having to deal with it. But like, and we've sent some things out to try to help it, but it's a fucking hellscape up there. So the whole next campaign is based on the idea of actually saving this version of Pocket in our world, and then we still haven't gone back to see what happens when Pocket resets on the other side. So there's a lot of campaign left to do for the next I don't know, decade or so.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a few characters, but I already have my next character. I had a character built for a different we were gonna actually do a Twitch. Buddha wanted to run a campaign for a Twitch campaign, and we had gotten it mostly set up, even did our session zeros, which turned out really kind of weird. But then work schedules, a lot of things happen. You know how D&D campaigns happen. It just kind of fell to the wayside. And I've had this character cast the feather. He's an Eric Okra. I've been sitting on him for a while, and I've been wanting to play him. And when we brought up the idea of using Valda's Spire for it. And he already was we were able to pick one magic item to start with as part of the campaign, and the item, I told him that he could pick for me, right? Because it was either one super good item, like a mid item and then some equipment, or just like a bunch of basic equipment in gold, right? And I told him one good item, but you get to pick it. So he gave me the Illusionist Bracers, which, if you're not familiar in 5e, Illusionist Bracers allow you to, if you go through and cast as an action a single target cantrip, you can use a bonus action to run that cantrip a second time. Right? So it literally lets you double cast a cantrip every time. Well, in Valda's Spire, there is a new class called War Mage, and one of the subclasses is Cantrip Master or something like that. So instead of getting any spells, you get access to a bunch of cantrips, and then you actually get things that will allow those cantrips to get beefy faster and build. So you can build beefy cantrips, and then on top of that, Illusionist Bracers allows you to double cast it. So I'm ready to be a flying machine gun of death. I plan on raiding Hellfire.
Just get Eldritch Blast. That's all you need. Double cast Eldritch Blast at high levels. Suddenly you're launching out 10 missiles at people. Who needs magic missile? That takes a spell slot. I've got cantrips.
That's dude, seriously. So yeah, no, it's and you know Buddha, so like multi-classing was it would be right up the alley.
You could probably take that glove and get an extra enchantment on there to implant Eldritch Blast in it with Buddha.
Well, so there is a new class that is like Artificer, but it's not magical. It's literally a builder. It's like an engineer. But they can do some other cool shit. And it's not that they don't work quite the same as an Artificer, just really similarly. And one of the other members is taking that, and he's already planning on building us all sorts of crazy broken shit, because he knows he's been playing with Buddha for a fucking decade. So he already knows like what is and isn't allowed. So he's going through and building shit, and then coming back to Buddha already going like, hey, are you gonna allow this? Hey, I made this. Hey, I made this. You know, and it was really I made
this. Hey, I made this.
Well, so you know how I was when I was an Artificer, when I had levels of Artificer. When I mained an Artificer in a Strahd campaign, that was a bad time for my DM. I mained an Artificer in a vanilla Strahd campaign, and I'm an engineer, so my DM, when I broke it down, I would take and physically write down all the parts I needed to build, say, a sniper rifle that could shoot a wooden stake a few thousand yards, right?
Gives that that gives me a wonderful leeway to tease everyone with a concept that you might be coming into in future Tales of Andrea. Thermite hand grenade.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm. Just dabble with that for a while. I actually hashed out the details with someone who's done thermite welding and works with pressurized tubing, and was able to sort out how it would work, how it would look, and what it's like. I already got it all sorted with an engineer already, and a plumber.
You know they have a
And other
thermite
people.
grenade in Helldivers too.
Yeah, yeah. I think I just unlocked it recently.
I would like to
That's
read
sick.
to you guys. Since you're talking about a thermite grenade.
I need to turn you down again. You're all over the place today.
Sorry. This is the Holy C4 Golem.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I'm going to read some stats here.
Okay, go for it.
Large construct
You're like
online.
this big for me, by the way. So I'm like,
Well, I'm gonna read it for you. It's 14 AC hit points are 14 D10 plus 56, so it's about 170.
Nice.
Right? Speed's 20 feet.
Okay.
Damage immunities are acid, poison, psychic, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks that are animanian. Condition immunities: charmed, exhaustion, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned.
That makes sense. Yep.
60 feet dark vision with passive perception of 9.
Cool.
Doesn't understand any languages, can't really speak.
Okay.
So he has multi-attack, 2 slam attacks like a golem, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has haste. He can haste himself, and that recharges on a 5 and 6. And then he has detonation. So detonation, when reduced to 0 HP, the golem explodes, dealing 14 D10 thunder damage and 14 D10 radiant damage to all creatures within a 20-foot radius. A successful DC save of 15 halves this, but fiends and undeads are at disadvantage. And as an action, the golem can choose to detonate, adding a bonus of both the thunder and radiant damage equal to half of the golem's remaining hit points.
That's a bit
Now
much.
there's the... Okay, it's a bit much. Let me read you the last line of this.
Okay, it's about to
The
become
golem-
too much.
The golem then reforms at full
100%
hit
too
points
much.
in the spot where it detonated
No.
3d4 rounds later.
okay.
I would never
That's
allow
what
it.
the things
That
that,
is
the
that
thi-
is shattered and broken to pieces. There's no way to actually kill that thing. What's to stop the person from saying every single turn, it reforms, great, detonate. Reforms, great, detonate.
I mean, it's 3d4
All 3d4
turns.
rounds.
Turns, 3d4 turns. So that is a maximum
A
of 2
minimum
minutes. Maximum of 2
Yeah.
minutes, minimum of 36 seconds before a second detonation is coming 6 seconds after it reforms. That is
He's
too
right.
much. That's too broken. That is,
Okay,
but, that is a perfect example of Buddha.
right. Well, so here's the thing: is I walked this into my big baddie battle, and the first thing I did was I walked it right up to the altar and exploded it on the bride and groom, and the only thing I killed was a dog. Because Buddha built it, he knew it was coming, and he had fucking contingencies in place to fucking immediately shatter my hopes and dreams.
stop.
I didn't hurt a damn thing with it.
Use mega damage. Just start using mega damage instead of all those dice. Roll a d6. Great. That is mega damage. So you just dealt not 6 HP, but 600 HP.
Dude, seriously?
Oh my God.
We had an instance where he put these things, dude, he has an item that should not exist, and he has admitted it. Basically, there are 4 of these towers on each row of the church, and we've destroyed most of them at this point, but there's a whole list of castings you can do from them, all the way up to 9th level. They're free. Doesn't cost you anything to cast. And he cast 14 instances of Finger of Death at one of our players.
What?
Yes.
The
That's
GM in
broken.
me is screaming.
Didn't kill her, by the
However,
way.
I really want to be in one of Buddha's campaigns just
Right.
to experience this. I don't think I could ever, with a mindset that I have, ever run one like that or ever allow a campaign to get that broken. But
Yeah.
I find it cool when GMs do.
I think.
I always have to walk into those campaigns knowing prior to that it's
Oh,
going to be a broken campaign. Because if it's going to be a
you
broken
just
campaign and I'm expecting a normal one, I'm just going to be thrown off so badly
right.
because I'm not going to be doing what everyone else is doing. I'm going to be
Mm.
behaving like a normal campaign, keeping everything within the constraints of a normal campaign without ever asking to go above and beyond. And then the GMs, most of the time, never actually offer or give the capability of going above and beyond because they don't realize that that's what you're going off of, that it's not a broken campaign.
No, he forces it on you, man.
Yeah,
So like
that's what
I
I've
didn't
heard.
ask.
Yeah.
He forces it on you. Do you know what the first thing he did for us? The first thing he did for us at level 3 was he gave us artifacts. He gave us each an artifact to start off with. And the artifacts you roll a 7th level spell and a 6th level spell for, right? And those are the 1 daily castings you get off of it. Mine, as a warlock, he gave me a gun that allowed me to cast any of my I could cast any of my melee spells through, like smiting and whatnot. I could cast it through shooting the gun as opposed to doing it in melee range. So now
That's
I
cool.
had all those
Yeah.
cantrips at range. But the level 7 spell that he gave me that he rolled for was Force Cage. And the level 6 spell was True Seeing. So at level 3, or at the 3rd level, right out the gate, I had True Seeing and I had a Force Cage available to me. And I made him fucking eat that right out the gate, which he has made me regret ever since. Well, and you know my my bardics.
Yeah.
My bardics
Yeah.
in this campaign are as a reaction, you add my my charisma modifier, which is currently +8, and then you roll the bardic on top of that. So my top bardic right now, I can add up to 18 to any roll as a reaction.
Mm.
It's so broken. It's all so broken. But that's the thing, is Buddha's not the kind to just give you that, or to wait for you to ask for shit. He'll,
gives
like,
it to
as
you.
he's building things
Yeah.
up, he'll just be like, oh, hey, I made this thing. You have this. Like, remember that guy you saved? You got a thing now. He liked you. So it's nice because he is very, very friendly. I mean, this was my first campaign. My wife and I were brand new players. He was very friendly to brand new players. And like, he power scales it, and it makes me fucking angry, but we always end up winning. I mean, more or less.
More or
Not
less.
intact. We're not always intact, but we find a way, because I have wish.
James got disintegrated again.
Oh,
Oh, that's fine.
wish.
Ding! Hey, James, how
I've
was that? It felt awful. Thanks for bringing me back, though.
I've had wish now for maybe 20 sessions.
That
20 or 30 sessions.
is actually one of my banned spells, but I'm going to bring it out of ban for the next campaign with a very strict criteria. As in, I will give them 5 options of what they can do with the spell. They will be overpowered options because it's supposed to be a powerful spell, but I'm going to seriously constrain it from the you get whatever you want.
Well, so
kind of
the whole idea of wish, when you go through and read the spell, is like anything outside of the listed, like the things that are physically listed on it, like, you get that, right? It casting any spell of a lower tier than it, or the few little things that it actually lists out as you getting. Everything else you get repercussions from, right? And I've used it in some pretty fucked up ways, and I got hit hard. At one point, I got sapped all the way down to 3 strength, and we were fighting things that did strength damage. I don't know if you knew this, but if you get sapped of all your strength, you just die. There's no saves, no nothing. If you just don't have strength anymore. So there's only a couple things in the game that actually do stat damage.
Constitution
But if
will
you just
do that too. If you lose all your constitution, you just die as well. Like
Yeah.
your health just stops
No.
and your heart just stops. With
right.
wisdom, you don't. It's the wisdom, charisma, and intelligence you don't. But the three physical ones, you just die if you get
Yeah,
lower
you just
to
die.
to 0.
Mm-hmm.
For it, which is why I
If
actually
you have 0 dexterity,
if you have 0
Yep.
dexterity, you're not
die.
moving anywhere, and like your heart's misbeating. Like everything is considered dexterous when it comes to
Yep.
0 dexterity. Even your
But I don't know
heartbeat.
anything that does any. I don't know anything that does charisma damage
There's,
or
like,
does.
3 creatures.
The only
I
thing
can think
I've
of.
ever heard of was the strength damage, and there's some ghosts that do it.
Yeah, some ghosts will do it on a low level. So in 3.5 it was a lot more brutal with that. About 30% of the creatures they came up with would do some kind of stat damage, and about 15% of them were permanent stat damage. And
Yeah.
you couldn't get it back unless with like greater restoration or spell or wish. But in 5e they're a lot more kind with it. I think the ghosts are the only one I know of for low levels. You have to get into legendary conditions for stat damage to start happening, which
Right.
is why I always tend to homebrew some creatures that will deal temporary stat damage. Because there's nothing like striking the fear of the gods in your players than dealing stat damage instead of HP damage.
Dude, seriously? Like, yeah,
Dang.
no, that's like, yeah, I know that we're overpowered,
It's a finite pool.
but there are ways to get around that shit, man. You know what he does? He burns he fucking limits our economy. He fucking throws hordes at us, and that shit's fucking hard to deal with. Like, people go down. Now, the nice part is, with the exception of some of the characters that will steal souls and whatnot, like, you know, death is just the beginning, really, in D&D. Like, especially at high levels, death is never the end. Especially since I have an insurance company. You know the insurance company at Eberron that will res you, right?
Vaguely.
Okay, so in the Eberron setting, you can buy insurance, and the way it'll work is that you will get up to a true res depending on how much insurance you pay when you die.
Yeah,
right?
I'll need to
So
look
that
into
is
this.
it's an Eberron
That's pretty
mechanic
nice.
that we heard of, right? So I took that as a player and I brought that into our world, and because I have a lot of money in our world, so I own an insurance company that can true res the party.
How do they tell when you're dead?
Scrying.
Okay, scrying. Just regular scrying.
We have oracles. We literally have oracles on staff that go through and watch people.
What if it's like a spy and they wear a ring of anti-scrying?
Well, so that's the thing, right? So there are different levels. Okay, I'm gonna explain my entire D&D pitch because I've thought about this. All right, so
cool.
the thing is there's lots.
Imagine that we're 2 characters who are looking into purchasing this life insurance.
Okay, so great. I'm glad you're here, right? So there's lots of different ways that we can go about this. Some guys, they're adventurers, right? Time is money. So we have plans based on both time duration and spell level, right? We have all sorts of different, obviously different ways of resurrecting people. If we're not right next to you, we can't just throw a revivify, right? But we have resurrection, we have true res, we have what are some of the other ones? We have wish at our available. What are who else do we have? There's I'm trying to think of the other ones that actually like fully. So we have reincarnation as well. Right, so you have options, right? You have options to bring you back, and then also we have durations. So say on our lowest tier, we're going to check on you once every 3 months, right? If we haven't heard back from you, haven't checked in with you in 3 months, we'll check on you. If we can't find you, if we can't get a hold of you, we're just going to automatically run your spell, right? That should be able to get you back. Now there we do have contingencies that we can upcast. in certain states of emergency, things like that. Those are part of a plan. That would be a further fee. If we can't find you anywhere and you give us the okay, we can go ahead and do a true resurrection on you. Just pull you straight back, right? Obviously there'll be a deductible for that, but there's that. I know that we can go all the way up to a real time. We have plans that go from 3 months all the way up to real time, right? So in real time, the real time, what that means is that if let's say you're in battle, right? Things are happening very fast. It's almost like every 6 seconds something new happens, right? Let's say that you die. You're in the middle of an epic battle. You're an adventurer, whatever. You die. Once a day, we can go ahead just right as soon as you die, pick you right back up. Boom. We'll just pick you up as soon as you go down, you're right back up. True resurrection, full hit points, full stats. That's the nice part about True Res is you get everything back. Now that does cost some money, but it's worth it. So
do you like send a guy out? Like what happens?
So we can't. That depends on the spell level. Obviously, some you have to be closer with some spells than others. We do what we can to. We have a whole staff of oracles and wizards going through and scrying regularly on our different customers, going through checking in, and we do have dedicated personnel watching our platinum tier members who are looking for that instant true res. True res being at a distance, we can actually true res you in your spot at a distance. As far as resurrection and things like that, generally when we resurrect you, your resurrection comes straight to us. Same with reincarnation. So that'll happen here. You won't go back, but true res, we can do true res at a distance.
How many can you do in a day?
Right now, we are limiting most of our customers to 1 true res in a day, and that's mostly a staffing issue. True res being a very sought after spell, and only the best magicians can perform it. We have a limit to how many customers we can take on at any given time and still be effective as a company. But we are looking into the future of being able to up those numbers once we can train some more staff.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Absolutely. I mean, sign me up for that. I'll sign up for a True Res program. That also reminds me of a very popular TV series and a TTRPG system, Altered Carbon, where the entire premise of that series is your conscious yourself, your memories are being downloaded into chips, which are then being transmitted to satellites. And when you die, 7 days after you, or on a 7-day cycle, they will put you into a new body if you're dead, and if you are, a new body will come to life, and then you'll come out and be like, "Wah!"
Oh, clone. We do clone too. Excuse me.
Oh my goodness.
We do clone too.
That's a temporary spell, right?
No. So the way clone works is that you make a clone of it's how wizards live forever. You make a clone that basically is in a tube, and it you have to have it exist for so long before it becomes permanent. But or something. There is a limitation on it, but once you have it around and you attune to the clone or however they have you do it, it just sits there, right? So if you have it in a good safe space, what happens is the moment you die, you immediately wake up as your clone. Unfortunately, your things aren't on you, right? It's your things are left wherever they were, but you wake up as your clone. The nice part about it, though, is when you wake up as your clone, you get to decide your age. Still you, but you get to decide your age. So it's literally how wizards stay youthful forever.
Oh, congratulations, Brando, on hitting 0 finally. Oh, those drastic taxes and inflation. Thanks for helping bring down the costs of one of our food goods. Help support your in and spend your gold here. That's, I think, 4 taxes and inflation that have helped reduce the prices of our meals. And water. I mean, look at the cost of water right now. 500 gold? Good grief. That's too much.
I'm not blowing all of my money. Don't look at me.
You're blowing up our chat.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at you.
I'm not blowing literally all of my
You
money on.
also redeemed yourself a nice, wonderful taxes and inflation. I'm going to bring down Andrean Mead for that one. So
I only have 107. I only have 178 gold left. I just blew through 30k in gold for no reason.
Oh, good. Good. That's okay. That's all right. I still have a lot. I actually can't tell how many I
I've
have.
had way too much. God, you had something. You had something up before that was really good because you change them all the time and they're really good. I'm trying to think of. Was it a salad?
The WCS. I've shortened it. Wet cat salad.
Yes.
That may have been what I've been eating a lot. I've been ordering a lot of wet cat salad.
You've eaten a lot of wet cat salad. Yeah, that's true. Got yourself some nice Liberty there and a good old bagel. That's great.
Bagel.
The famous Brologna.
The Brologna, yes. I need some Brologna.
And the spicy spaghetti wires. I actually need to add a new unique item for this month because I haven't done that. I didn't do it last month either. But last month I have reasons. Naughty Kool-Aid. Oh.
Yes, naughty Kool-Aid.
A rare burger. We should change that one. What should it be?
Well, it was rare before, so I guess the next if we've gotten better at it, it would be an epic burger now.
Legendary burger.
It would be right. It could be a legendary burger, yeah.
Medium legendary burger.
Well, it'd be because it'd be purple, so yeah, it'd be a legendary burger.
Don't ask where the meat comes from. I'm still saving as that.
Wait a second. I thought we were the owlbear and we're not eating owlbears. That's not what we're doing here.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh, no.
Lily's offended on that one. I mean, so the medium legendary burger does say, don't ask where the meat comes from.
That's true.
It could be the hobgoblins they've been moidering on the back ends. You ever wonder? You ever wonder why those streets up to your Albarian are so clean of bandits and hooligans? Well, don't look at your burger today. They're in it.
Bandit Baroques.
Bandit Baroques. Freaking
I mean, I just want to know what people thought the hot dogs were made out of.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
just saying. Well, and we don't we serve Soylent Green?
Sure we do. Sure.
Now we do.
Now we do.
If we didn't before.
Also, that arm that got chopped off that adventure yesterday, we definitely disposed of it in a sanitary way.
Right.
Yes.
100%. But don't worry.
1000% isn't it mere meatloaf.
It wasn't disposed to people of the same ancestry or heritage, race, whatever your system wants to call it. Wasn't given to the same kind, so technically, no cannibalism was done.
Oh, speaking of cannibalism.
I love that sentence.
So,
I hear it way too frequently.
Speaking of cannibalism.
Honestly.
Speaking of cannibalism.
At least once a year.
So, right? I'm a spoiler alert. I'm gonna go throw a spoiler alert out of here. Have both of you played through a Strahd campaign?
No.
Strahd?
No.
I'm the forever GM.
Okay, so have you ever been a part of a Strahd campaign to know the ins and outs of them? No.
I have
Oh.
watched a Strahd campaign, but
No.
I watched it with someone who's a happy homebrewer GM who said there were alterations. So I cannot say
Okay,
with full
so
confidence I got the full
I
experience.
am going to change what I'm going to say then. So, I had a character that participated in a very vanilla Strahd campaign, right? At some point, there was a snack.
Mm.
And the snack, if you ate it, got you really fucking high.
Nice.
Now, the thing about this snack, and I'm trying to be as vague as possible, is that what we found out was that it was kids. They were kitty pies.
Oh
We
boy!
were eating children, and that's what got you high. Now
What?
here's the thing.
High on life.
I was playing a Dragonborn at the time,
Right.
and did not give a fuck. I decided that I'm like, look, humans eat frog legs all the time. This shit's good. And then just like, and the thing was it's a con save to not get like completely fucked up and like go out of your mind. And I hit every con save as a barbarian dragonborn every
Nice.
time. So all I could think of is, oh, these pies are great. And I'm just fucking snacking on them, even when they're like, everybody else is like, these are kids. It's for the kids. And I'm like,
It's like soul coins. Some people are disturbed by them.
all I'm saying is that they ate my kind. I can fucking eat them too. It's fine. But yeah, watch out in Strahd. Watch what you eat.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, because you could be eating them tonight.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife.
Oh,
I think I disturbed Ben beyond all belief.
he's in my campaign, so I don't know if that's possible.
You didn't want to eat children?
I
hear-
don't know.
I
If
hear they're
disturbed is
tasty.
quite the word.
I mean, I hear veal's good, so I mean, 6 of 1, right?
I mean, all that adrenochrome, it's got to get you somewhere.
They do call it sweet meat or long pork for a good reason.
Well, now that the
I'm-
Ian has addressed the concept and the topics of
Of
cannibalism
cannibalism.
for, I think, probably the dozenth time in his existence,
And who
That's true.
knew that the transition of speaking of cannibalism?
was such a common term of phrase. Well, apparently
just
here at the
saying.
Arbarian it is. We say it frequently.
Could've been worse.
Oh, joys. Oh, boy. Okay, so I discovered a problem recently. I have new characteritis. That's what I'm going to call it. Mainly because, so we started up and did our first session of the Thursday tables, getting back together again finally. And we've got the first session done. And up until that point, I think I changed my character 3 times. So I had 4 different types of templates at one point
Okay.
for who the character was going to be. None of them were any of the templates I've built saying this would be a cool build to do. So instead of going to previous builds that I've already done and already been like, I have a character, I have this set, I know this person, I have a backstory, I have everything already decided for, I just need to fit it into the world. No, I started fresh, brand new, 4 times. Couldn't decide.
So it's something I've noticed about you fuckers who've been doing this for a long time, and it's the first thing I noticed this with D&D players first, and then I realized that it's anybody who's been doing anything for a long time. But it really was prevalent with D&D players in that the longer you've been playing this game, the weirder you fucking get about it. Because you've built so many characters and you've seen so many concepts and all this stuff that you've done all of the fucking vanilla builds. So you're like, okay, right. So I hear you're a human fighter, right? But what if I made a human Aarakocra hybrid right? That I went through and homebrewed for, right? And his backstory, right, actually comes from another dimension from 3 characters ago, because 3 characters ago is his father, so I could just build off of that. But like, that was like, he was a dragonborn, so it's a whole different, like, that's like, we have to figure out how we got from dragonborn to half human, half Aarakocra, but that's fine, I can explain that. And then like, it just gets fucking weirder and weirder, and I've noticed that about Buddha, I've noticed that about you, I've noticed that about buddy Liam. All of you guys just get so fucking weird with this shit.
I think the favorite build I've ever done, and I'm hoping that my home group on Fridays continues on with these characters, just so I can see it through to 20, because it's got 6 different classes incorporated.
Yeah, you fucking do that shit, and you're fucking. I've mentioned that about you before. It's like, you're like, because you fucking. I mean, like, Murray, for such a vanilla player of like, no, this is like D&D, right?
You're right.
You min-max the shit out of
I don't even
what
need
is.
to. I just want to do something fun, and then it turns into a huge min-max, and I'm like, oh crap, I did min-max. Dang it, they're right.
Valisaur.
Yeah. I just wanted to do so. I wanted to see, like, can I create a character
I'm still
who
angry
was
at that
impossible
character.
to hit?
I still don't like that character. He makes me so mad when I think about him.
And he's such a like a jokester as well. Once you get down to the core of his nature,
I'm
like
sure.
he's a dad joker.
I'm sure, but I
he's
fucking
just got
hate
a
that
really
guy.
bad history, and he's really hard to hit.
I know, and that's all I want to do. I still want to hit him.
What? The one time you roll a natural 20 against him, nah, you hit it to Shane instead. You don't hit me.
Yeah, I was so fuck. I'm still mad at you. I'm still mad at you about that.
Oh gosh. Oh, I'm sorry, Smokey. That was.
You're not. You're not
no, I'm
sorry.
not. That was.
I can
was...
see it on your face.
No, not at all.
Oh man.
Oh, he was
still
fun.
So fucking mad at that character. But yeah, man, the longer you've been playing, the more I notice that guys will fucking be like, especially the 3.5 era players.
Oh yeah.
The people who've been playing for a while and played for 3.5, they will fucking go, because it's what you were trained to do.
Yeah.
You were trained to, the 3.5 trains you to min-max. Like, you can't even fucking complain about it in 5th edition, because like there's just no wiggle. Well, it's not. There's no wiggle room like there is in, like, there's so many options in 3.5 for you to go out and do this, that, and the other. But like 5e is very simple, so there's not a whole lot of wiggle room to go out and do this and that. It's pretty straightforward. Like, this is the way it is, and you all still figure out how to fucking break shit regularly.
Well, this time round, I am playing a raccoon. A druid raccoon.
A gypped raccoon?
Yep, a gypped raccoon. I'm living out the dream. His name is...
Finally.
You'll meet him on Thursday. I won't give you his name.
If it's not Jip, I'm gonna be mad.
It's not.
Oh,
actually,
that Jip
reminds me, I need to post...
Gypped raccoon.
That
Literally
is me.
his name on...
Jib. It's gotta be Jib.
Jib?
I'm right.
Jib the Gypped raccoon.
I'm correct.
Jib the Gyp.
I'm just saying, I'm correct.
I have to post another one of these actually. Hang on. I think I've done that one. Yep, here we go. No, I think I've done that one too. Here we go. Alright people, if you want to know what I'm talking about and what I'm laughing at here, join our Discord and head to the Meme It Up. I was reminded of this conversation, the fact that I have to post a certain meme. It's a great meme, it checks out, and a lot of people get their heartstrings torn by it. It's great.
The trifecta means emotions, laugh, and disturb.
Yes, hate, laugh, cry. Hate, laugh, cry.
Hate, laugh, cry.
I lean on the hate. if when I like I it's not that I don't like making people laugh. I do. I enjoy being funny. But what's something I relish, the thing that makes me, and I think that's what makes me a sadist, really, is when somebody fucking hates me. When I look at somebody in the eye and say, God, that was so funny. It was near mountains, you know, hill areas. And watch them go. That, right there. That's what I look for. Right there. Yes. That's exactly what I look for. Thank you very much, Jip. I appreciate it. That was the reaction I was going for. Just the vitriolic hatred, and then head down, rub temples. Yes, that's you got me right there. You gave me what I needed. You gave me what Daddy needed.
Wait, hang on. I think we have a meme or a sound for this.
Spank me, Daddy.
Yes, that. Oh, good times.
Oh gosh.
I guess I don't get soundboard on mobile.
No? Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So there's actually a meme inside our Discord in the Meme It Up channel. It's a picture of a guy who just took a photo of a fox pulling his pant legs, or his trouser legs, and it says passed out in a London bus stop, woke up to this. Funny thing, can relate. That is not a surprise to me. I have seen stuff like that happen before. I've held a walk with a fox in the middle of London while going home before. It just walked along with me. Those things are not terrified of us at all over there.
Why is every story about not just you, but anytime anybody from England talks about England, like it's just straight out of fucking Harry Potter or fucking The Hobbit or some shit?
Well, two reasons. First one, they're both English. Actually, I think J.R. Tolkien's Welsh, which would explain a lot of things. Not Tolkien, not Tolkien. The other one. What's a facey? The one that's been messing up.
Theoretically,
HP.
The Hobbit was supposed to be a written history. Like, I mean, it was fake, obviously, but he wrote it as a written history of Europe.
Huh.
Yeah, it was supposed. That was the intention of it. It was supposed to be a written history of Europe, but it was
kind of like how The Last Airbender is the written history of Asia.
Right.
Huh.
Like,
right.
Yeah.
Well,
the formation of Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and if you look, and you can do this with Star Wars too. Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3 was World War II, and I think it was the Hobbit movies, or the Lord of the Rings was World War I. If you go through and actually like look at the conflicts and whatnot.
They relate pretty well.
Yeah, there was.
Like,
I mean,
really
not
well.
saying that they were direct or anything, but there was a lot of like and you think about
alliterations.
When you think about when they were written too, they were written, post these wars, and there's a lot of influence of this, that, and the other. So you can see some of the influence that those wars had on those properties. But yeah, that was something I had heard about a long time ago, and I went back and watched them. I mean, Star Wars is easy, right? His name is fucking Darth Father. His name is Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally using German, and they fucking salute fucking, I'm like it's literally like
Sidious,
they're literally
like
space Hitler.
Insidious. That's kind of a the saluting thing on that was episode 7, that was the newer films, that saluting method. They didn't actually do that in 4 through 6. When they did that in 7,
this or something.
Yeah, that was in 7.
But it was all very like goose steppy, and I mean they literally had stormtroopers.
Oh, the helmets.
Which was
the stormtroopers.
They literally had stormtroopers. Like that's. I mean, it was
which is a
direct,
1-for-1. Yeah,
right.
It's a direct.
It was a direct. It was a direct call out to Space Hitler.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Space Hitler, Iron Sky, everyone. That's just such a terrible film. But if you want Space Hitler, watch Iron Sky.
Iron Sky.
That's all I'll say about that film. Watch at your own discretion. There are some topics in there that a lot of people would not want to touch. Ever with the 10-foot pole, and I don't blame you. They're topics that are very uncomfortable, but...
I ate children as a fictional character.
Yes. Remember, it's all fiction.
Oh man.
No, that's too serious of a topic. Yep.
Have you guys heard any of the Helldivers 2 news recently?
The fact that PSN has pulled back? Sony's pulled back from their PSN demand?
In 48 hours, they announced the day before, on May 5th, like, yo, was it May 4th? Was it May 5th or May 4th?
So, I think it was Monday.
Or was it May 3rd? Probably the 3rd.
I heard about this
But they
last
announced
Thursday.
that they were pushing out on the May 6th. It was last Thursday?
Yeah, last Thursday is when I was hearing about this.
Okay.
Like, hearing about
I think it was by
happening.
Sunday, so maybe 72 hours. Anyway, they went from, like, review bombing the whole Helldivers system because of that whole PSN thing. Then immediately bringing the reviews back to mostly positive on Steam in a matter of, like, 3 days.
Did you see that they're taking the nosedive of their the nosedive of their ratings and making a cape out of it?
Are they really?
Yeah, they took the 3 bars of it going like that, and then like the really long one, and they're making a cape out of it that's going to be a free item for everyone.
That
that's
is
great.
what we call listening
in true Helldivers fashion, they're like, oh, you review bomb us? Cool, we're making that an item.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We're gonna do it.
That's amazing.
Oh, you guys are really pissed off at this? Wonderful. Okay, that gives us
fucking the whole studio's a bunch of trolls. It's amazing.
It's great.
It brought about some really good discussion about what you get into when you agree to things with a publisher. You know?
Yeah.
Because as a small indie company, you're like, oh yeah, Sony's coming to us. They're taking care of all this stuff. It's going to be great. But then Sony gets their greedy little hands on your amazing property that does so much better the second time that, like, it becomes a problem, you know? Because then they're like, hey, you remember that thing that we were kind of iffy about that we're now, you know, having a lot of people come through here? It's like, yeah, we're going to make sure that they're all their data's locked into this grid with us. And so you had that side, and then you had the 150 countries that just don't have PlayStation Network capable, like they're just region locked.
Right.
And so this game that they've been playing for months now is just completely unusable. And so they made the smartest move of all time by going back and saying, hey, we've heard you. We're not going to make this a requirement. It kind of makes you wonder, like, if gamers actually got together like that more often. Like,
well, this isn't the first time.
It's not at all. Especially, it's not the first time with Sony doing this. What was Sony behind Sonic? Refresh my memory.
No, that's Nintendo.
That's
Sega.
That's Sega.
Nintendo,
okay.
Sega, yeah.
But
because Sega was purchased by Nintendo.
From that region are proving to actually listen to their customers and clientele. They'll say, we're going to do this. But if you act and you say, no, absolutely not, we don't like that, they listen. They've been listening. And it's been shown through the past few years that that's the case. Whereas here, they release it. Who cares? It's a half-finished game. We'll develop it and fix it as time goes by. Deal with
Blizzard.
it.
Blizzard.
Yeah, Blizzard.
Blizzard.
Don't
so
bother
notice
sponsoring
that
us,
those were both
don't.
Japanese companies.
Yes, yeah,
Just wanna
both
point that
Japanese
out.
companies. So you
Japanese
look at the
companies.
culture and the customs of the cultures from the companies where they're based out. And I'm not going to go there because I will get into full details on that because that is my education emphasis and focus is international business ethics. So if you want to have a conversation
lack
with me on
thereof in
that
some
stuff, or
places.
lack thereof in some places, if you want to have a conversation with me on that, off air, I will happily have a conversation like that, but not while we're live. I get a little too passionate, shall we say. I'm a very passionate person. You
Kind
think
of
this
like
is
me and
passionate?
managed democracy.
Yes, managed democracy.
Get a little too passionate.
A little too passionate. Yeah. Oh boy, I nearly went on a bad bunny trail there. Although it is a fun bunny trail. Shall we ask a random question as a terrible segue for said bunny trail? Alright, I've got a lovely little cards that actually have question cues on them that are really actually fun. So what would be the first thing you would change about your life if you suddenly became wealthy? And this is talking TTRPG stuff.
You know
So,
what's
like,
funny is I kind of had a thought experiment like that because I don't really play the lottery or anything, but the lottery was like close to $1 billion the other day. And I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I bought a lottery ticket and I was like trying to imagine, like, what would I do with this money? And I started to ask myself, like, okay, like if I had all this money, you know, you could buy your house, your car, or whatever. You still gotta live, you know? So it's like, what are you gonna be living doing? You know, what are you gonna spend your minute to minute doing? You know what I mean? So it's like,
reading for the rest of my life.
Right. So it's
Happily.
like, how could you probably maybe minimize on some of the, the BS that you take part in? Like for me, it's as soon as I get home, for some reason, I'm just like on my phone for like, it can be like an hour and a half, or I just am on YouTube, cycling through, looking at shorts, looking at whatever,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh, it is 6:30 right now.
Yeah. I need to get some food in
I'm
me.
hungry. I've done nothing. I'm thirsty. It's like, and so you can ask yourself, like, okay, so if I was wealthy and I had all my needs taken care of, would I necessarily want to be just flipping around on my phone? Like, that's fine. It's okay. Like, I think it's important that we have these tools and that we stay connected and that we have the ability to just disconnect at any given time. I think that's actually a blessing, the ability to just kind of zone out for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we get a little too unfocused on like what we want, that we forget that, like, hey,
We forget to
it
take
doesn't
care of
necessarily take
ourselves.
$1 million. Yeah, it doesn't take $1 million.
Well, can I
but
tack onto that?
maybe
Since
you spend like $50 on yourself, and it's all good.
Well, so I'd like to tack because I think you make a really good point there. All I've ever wanted with my life is enough money to do what I want when I want, right?
Right.
If my wife walked down here right now and was like, "Hey, I want to go to Disneyland," I'd like to just plan in the next month or so to go to Disneyland, plan that out, and know that I have the bankroll to do it, and then come back and whatever. And this isn't really something I've thought about recently, but as you both know, we've discussed. I had a bit of a career change recently that put me in a much different position than I was prior, and I would say that given my current income, I am wealthy, and nothing really changed. Except for nothing. I think that if I had more money than I do right now, that I'd probably still go to work.
I thought about that too. Like,
I'd probably keep my job. And like I like my job. I like the people I work with. I enjoy going to do it. And like if money wasn't an option, like I'd probably like I enjoy my coworkers. I enjoy running the business because I'm a business manager, and I enjoy like seeing like people come up and watching techs come up and do better, and like I'm doing a thing I like, you know. If money wasn't an object, I would probably still continue to do that. And I don't know that I'd move into a much nicer house. I'd probably like own instead of rent, you know. I think a
Yeah.
lot of the money, instead of paying things off immediately, I'd do the smart thing and invest it all into like bonds, most of it into like bonds and things like that, because when you do that, when you have $800 million, right, and you're only earning like a guaranteed 3% every year, a guaranteed 3% on $800 million is fucking a shit ton of money to be able to
Yeah.
and you could just live off that. You could always have that money there in safety bonds that never are almost never volatile, and you could just live off of that. And that's often what wealthy people do, is they invest in sure things, and then like the rest of the stocks are just playthings anyway.
Yeah,
right?
it's the form of like rich gambling, basically. It's just investing in
Stock
stocks
market.
and stock markets.
Right, but
yeah,
that's
it's rich gambling.
But that's the stock market itself. When you're doing bonds and things like that, you're doing like funds that are low yield, but they're sure things.
Yeah,
You will get your money back, right? And
Yeah.
that's the thing. So I'd put all my money there so that I'd have just my money, and then like I do what I do with my money right now. It's like I earn money for one reason, guys. Like, and I think I've mentioned this to you guys off of stream, but I earn money for one reason, and that's to spoil the people I love, right? Like that's it. Like above meeting my needs, like I have a friend right now that's in a tough time because their ex-husband hadn't been paying child support in a while, and you know, she has two teenagers, and they try to eat her out of house and home, and she moved jobs recently into some hard times. But like also, I got a bonus this year, and I've had that off to the side, so it was nice to be able to just pull some money off to the side and be like, hey, I know you missed a few weeks of work, here's X amount of money, unnamed money. I'll like make sure that the kids, like one of the kids didn't go to school the other day because they had ripped jeans and didn't have a second pair. I'm like, here's cash, go do that. Like, I love these kids.
Yeah.
This is one of my best friends in the world. These kids are, I'm like an uncle to them. Like, if they need a thing, I want to be able to buy it. But also, I feel very blessed that I'm in a spot where when my friends need me, I can be there.
Yeah.
Right? And that's really all I care about. That's honestly, if I made any more money than I do right now, I would still do the same thing I'm doing right now. I'd be hanging out here on fucking chat with you guys, streaming to ourselves, fucking hanging out with my cats and just chilling, you know, hanging out with friends. That's what I do.
I think the only thing I'd change is I'd get a better camera.
Yeah.
That doesn't
I'll get you.
glitch out so much for some reason.
Yeah, mine goes
It's
green
like,
every
yeah,
once in a
man.
while. That's a refresh thing, though, I think. So
Yeah,
have to
because
figure it out.
I've tried at 50 hertz, I've tried at 60 hertz. I don't know, it just hurts.
Right. No, I get the same. I have the same issue every
do you
once in a
know
while. It goes through mine, and I don't know how to fix it.
The funny thing here is I think Smokey can attest to this. Like 3 years ago, that would have bothered me too. Like the flashing of the camera really would have bothered me. I'd have been like, okay, what can we do to fix that? Because I mean, like we're not getting a consistent feed. We're not getting a consistent camera thing from Ben. What can we do to fix it? Now it's just like, nah. It's just.
I
a
mean,
thing.
it'd be nice to fix,
It's
and
just a thing.
eventually,
It would be nice
eventually,
to
here's
fix.
the
I'm
thing: is
curious, has my camera flashed at all since I've been on mobile?
No.
it's been fine.
Not at all.
It's something to
course.
do with the computer.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's yeah. The phones don't do it because they're broadcasting different.
Yeah.
The camera. It's the camera, not the. It's the camera in the computer, not the. It's not Discord. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's.
It does do it on OBS as well.
Right.
So,
No,
yeah,
it's the
that would
same
be
thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get it to stop on OBS somehow, and I can't remember how.
It doesn't do it as much, because what I do is I'll set up like a virtual camera so it streams through OBS.
Ooh.
Right.
But it's still, I have noticed that every once in a while I'll catch it and it just is like, just a quick
It's
little.
super quick. Super duper quick. Oh. I think I would stay at my job if I got wealthy. Just for the main sake of the fact that I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy working with numbers, and that's what I'm doing right now, is just working with numbers. It's great. And I enjoy not having to pay for insurance myself and having someone else take care of all those details for me. Having a job and getting paid for the job to get that done is worth it alone. But then I'd also invest everything and actually start making my parents go on cruises every single year, every single month, because they would love that.
Yeah.
I would just spend it on the people. Yeah, I don't think I would change anything. I'd probably buy a condo just so I can have a place and not rent, like you said.
Right. I would choose more of where I'd choose where I specifically lay my head, maybe a little bit more carefully, right? I might drive a nicer vehicle, but that's even then, man. Like, I don't need a brand new vehicle. I have we picked up the newest vehicle. I my last vehicle was an 07, and I finally picked up a newer vehicle at a 2019. That's the newest vehicle I've ever had in my goddamn life. You know?
Well, and there's the fact that, like, when you start buying rich people cars, they're so temperamental
and expensive.
Like if you're like, oh, I'm gonna get a Ferrari, then it's like, oh my god.
Well, fucking Jaguars, man. So the joke about Jaguars is you need two so that you can drive your Jaguar where your Jaguar is in the fucking shop.
Yeah.
Right? Seriously.
Oh,
seriously.
Man.
That's been the joke about Jags for a fucking long time.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like I have a Mazda, but the only reason I have a Mazda is because like the Mazda CX-5 is like super prevalent right now, so you can get good deals on them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about as nice of a vehicle, you know.
Definitely would not buy a mansion. You cannot waste your money in a more efficient way than buying a freaking mansion.
Oh my gosh!
Idiotic.
Talk about
it's nothing about. It's not. It's only symbol. You're only buying a mansion to send a symbol of I'm rich and wealthy.
No, I amend
Unless you filled it with people.
Unless you filled it with people.
That was what I was gonna say. Is so after we were living with living in the last house, when we moved into this house, like I live in about $1 million home right now. Something like $900,000 in Superior, Colorado, right? In a nice area. The only reason we live like this is because like I have roommates. Like we have friends that take up the other rooms, and like it's a 2, 3, 4 bedroom with a basement, right? So like I rent out the basement as my office and my kitty room. And then we all rent out the rest of the rooms. We share the common space, the garage, and it makes it so like my rent, my part of the rent between me and my wife, our joint rent is like $1,600 a month. Which isn't bad.
That area is actually pretty dang good.
That's just not bad for 2 people. Like if I had to go out and get like a 2-bedroom so that I had an office, my wife would have space, we'd had a bedroom, that'd still cost me $2,000 if I $2,500 with a garage, you know?
Right.
So like so I haven't, and I really like a lot of the people that that I know enough to, and I've lived with a bunch of them through the pandemic. So like I would be cool with like having another like 2 or 3 roommates and all living in just like a super high-end fucking area where we had a huge yard for pets and a pool and all that shit, you know, because overall the cost would be actually pretty minimal, you know. You can charge
when you find a decent daily social net, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's hard to do. I've never had it before in my life before this. And it was not easy to achieve. It was literally the pandemic that forced us into the situation in the first place. And it was rocky sometimes, but we got to a place where for the most part, I think I would live with maybe like 4 of my friends, 5 of them, up to. And then, I mean, I'd give other people, but also after all this, I'd give more of my friends a chance. Because I got to a point where I'm like, no, fuck all of you. Like, I don't feel, I want to do what I want to do in my space. I want to walk out naked in my house, goddammit. But now having, like, lived with people for a while, like, I guess I'll put clothes on before I leave my bedroom. Whatever, you know. Like what's the word I'm looking for? The things I'll do.
Consideration?
The considerations I'll make for other people, you know. I'll make the consideration for you because we're friends. I'll put on something to cover this mess. I get it.
I put on something
Maybe
to cover
not
my
maybe
mess
not
every
a
single
shirt.
day.
That's
It's
fine.
a beard. It's unattachable.
Yeah, well.
So I had the moment the other day of actually it was yesterday. On Sunday, I didn't see anyone in the house at all. Every time I left to like refill my water bottle or get some food, no one else was around. So on Monday, when I walk out of the room, they're all in the kitchen. They all look back at me. I'm like, oh, so he is alive. What's that supposed to mean? They're like, well, we didn't see you yesterday. I'm like, I've got a phone. You know where I work. You know where I do my stuff. You can knock on the door if you want to talk to me. Clearly, I didn't want to talk to people, so I was shelled up for the day. So thanks for not disturbing me.
It do be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I get that feeling.
Oh yeah.
I'm a rogue.
Yeah, I think it would be really something. I think that would be really cool if you guys ever wanted to get like super serious about this. Is like
build a commune.
Well, I was talking about building
the cult of the owlbear.
Well, literally building an inn, like a live-in inn.
Yeah,
know?
Yeah.
Getting together and having.
I wouldn't be objected to the idea.
Man, my mom's theory is that the original religion was the worship of bears.
That's an interesting theory. Hi, Ashley.
The worship of rocks.
Because, like, I don't remember exactly what culture she was, like, mentioning, but it was, like, some of the earliest, like, written anythings. It was, like, some kind of caveman era stuff. And they were just obsessed with bears. Like, they were just like, this thing that looks like a person that's, like, walking around, and then it's all big and hairy, and they would, like, do things with the bones and, like, all this whatever. And so her theory is that, like, bears were, like, the first, like... Could you imagine? You're just, like, this regular, normal human. Most of your life, all you've seen is the cave and some other people, maybe a wolf or something, and then you've heard of a bear, maybe, but then you see one, and then you're like, good Christ, like, that is that a person? What is that? And then it stands on its hind legs, and you just see its like paws, and you're just like, I don't know. I just feel like, you just create some mythology about it. You're just like this strange creature.
I want to train a human being to not know about the concept of a rabbit, right? What a rabbit is or anything about it, but show them the film Monty Python and the Holy Grail and say that is true to a rabbit. That's what they do. They are like that.
It's a man-eater.
It's a man-eater.
It's a man-eater.
A man-eating rabbit.
Well, so if we think about it from a logical perspective, right? Your cave drawings were going to be a more clear, long-term form of communication than any form of speech in the beginning, right? That's going to be the way we're communicating thoughts, and the thing that we're going to try to communicate,
like visually,
first,
trying to create a visual for someone.
So how we're going to communicate thoughts, though, is through where the things that are going to be most important to us to communicate. First is going to be danger, right? Yep. And then after that is the food, right?
Yeah.
So those are going to be the primary things that you're going to see in any form of early communication, especially written communication, are the things that are going to kill us, the things that help us live. Right? Because those are your base things.
Right.
Now
and then things that are on that spectrum.
Well, and so when I when I did go to college for the very short period of time, one of the classes I took was a world religions class, and it got into the very early religions, and a lot of them were naturalistic, right? You're worshiping the elements, worshiping rocks, worship so like you still see
like
it
observable nature.
Right. So you still see this in pagan traditions, like Wiccan, right? You still see this in even in like all around the world. In Japan, Shintoism, right?
Yeah.
They have household gods. There are gods that protect everything, right? And that's especially a lot of the earlier religions, the polytheistic religions. You'll see that everything is worshipped, really, because everything is giving either to be feared or to be revered within nature, right?
Yeah.
It's either going to help me live or it's going to kill me.
It's also, I mean, a lot of these came up during the times where sciences were not understood or shunned. So the only real way to explain something that's unexplainable is through supernatural phenomena, which is basically create a religion from it.
Right. But this before organized religion,
These are all hypothetical, and we're all just open-ended talking views of it, just covering that for the audience.
Right. Well, and originally, before we talk about like organized religion, a lot of unorganized religion, a lot of the idea of it's almost wrong to call things like the naturalistic polytheistic religions a religion in the first place. I think that's trying to put something in a box that is not
trying to conform it to modern
it's an apples and oranges thing.
Yeah.
I think that it's a different standard. I think the pagan traditions, I think Shintoism, things like that, though, is a tradition of revering nature and whatnot. It is not the same. It only meets the idea of what we call a religion because there are traditions within it, and those traditions are cyclical.
Yeah.
And I think too, you can see reflections between religion and philosophy, where it's like Eastern philosophy and Eastern religion kind of speak to each other in the same way where like Western religion and Western philosophy speak to each other. But I think you really gain the most by like trying to see like the relationship between the East and the West and everything in between, because then it's like, okay, how do people fathom the unknown?
Yeah.
Like, it's like what it comes down to is it's like, how do you take something that you don't quite understand or don't understand at all and make sense out of it?
It's the power of traveling word as well. We see an example of this inside the game Telephone, where one person says an extended phrase and then it tries to get back in perfection down to the other line. Through the years, the spoken vocal words, even the interpretation of the images we see on those cave walls, is going to get skewed in some way. So what if it was just a natural thing all the way back then, but we lack all of the evidence today? Context.
The
That's
context.
The context.
The context is the important.
Context.
No, because I'm right there with you. Because here's the thing, right? Is if you look at it from that same point of view, Murray and I could say the exact same thing, but because and we could have the same sort of intention behind it, but because we do not have the same image in our head, it's why projecting thoughts, like the things that we're saying to each other, the vibrations that we're making and then interpreting in our brains are just us trying to convey thoughts with one another at any given time. And though I am doing my best to try to create context around my words so that you do understand me, the natural struggle to be understood by another human being is something that we still massively struggle with today. The idea of simply, like, I need you to have the thoughts in my head in your head. And I think we speak very sophisticatedly to one another, and we still lack so much. It's why we favor things like telepathy, the idea that I could actually hear your thoughts. That's such a lofty idea and such a superpower, because like it's the superpower of actually understanding another human being.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so a good context of this actually is something I've been coming across fairly recently, and actually I've been talking to Michael Howarth about. We've been kind of theorizing back and forth to the strengths of the English language and its weaknesses. And one of the things is the misinterpretation, either deliberate or indeliberate, of a singular word used in a sentence. And one of the contexts I've got is I used the word manipulate recently in something, saying like, well, what if something was being manipulated in this scenario? And the person came back with, well, I don't know if he's talking about like something in control. I don't think they would control in that way. I'm like, no. There's a key difference in this scenario between the word manipulate and control. Control, they have no choice. Manipulate, they're being led to do it, and they still have their choice. So you got to look at the finite and the minute little details behind the context and behind the words being used to tie them in. And if you're missing some of those words being used and some of that context, then you're not going to get the full message by catching only one full sentence of it.
Well, and that's because oftentimes, well, no, you have to. I can't even say oftentimes. When people are speaking to you, you can only ever see it from your own perspective. Right? You can physically, you can only ever see it from your perspective.
Yeah.
You can try to understand their perspective. You can open your mind and try to theorize where they're coming from, and that's where what we try to do, right? We try to create understanding. I try to actively, something I've always tried to do is when I try to speak to you guys or speak to the audience or whatever, I'm trying my best to speak to you from the perspective in which you might be watching me. I try to think about sitting in the seat that you're at and having those words speak to me. And I also try to understand my audience, the two of you. I know you guys, I've spoken to you a lot. So I try to use the words in such a way and create context around them so that you guys are more likely to catch the things that I'm saying. But if I were just speaking to somebody on a subway that I had never met, and I said, yeah, they molested my arm, I was just kind of whatever, they'll probably go, oh, did you have to use that word? It's like, it was the most technically correct word, but because they have ick context associated with that word, immediately you get recoil.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's that. Now that's an extreme version of what I'm talking about, but it's the easiest to identify, of putting a personal context onto words that could not mean that.
Yeah.
Right? That might be being used in a separate way, but it's hard because, again, you can only ever see things from your own perspective.
Yeah, which is...
Well, that's just like watching a comedy now. It's like, or a comedy from like the year 2002, where back then it was like, contextually, it all made sense because everyone was talking like that.
Yeah.
But now you're like,
you look back and
oh
cringe.
my God, wow. That is...
Well, the context has changed. The context, that's why context has changed.
And
we look back and should cringe.
Context behind comedy oftentimes is very reliant on common day situations, like what's happening to them today. Why is it funny today? Early Tom and Jerry, oof. Yes, early Tom and Jerry is oof.
Well, that's Mickey Mouse with he's popping the cheese out with his penis. He's making Swiss cheese with his penis.
It's so
that
gross.
was an old Steamboat. That's a literal Steamboat Willie. Open source. We could actually play this right now, and it's open source because it's Steamboat Willie, and Steamboat Willie's free for use now.
We won't do that.
But he was that
nudity. What?
It's not. No, he has pants on.
Oh,
he has pants on. He has pants on. It's through his pants, but he literally gets a boner with his pants, and then he just sticks the cheese a bunch of times off of he pulls it off a conveyor belt, sticks it on his penis a bunch of times, and then puts it back on and grabs another piece and does it. This is an actual thing that that happened. Well, yes, a lot of early Disney is cringe.
That's true.
Mr. Fields, and that's probably because Disney had stock in the porn industry early on. Also, funny story.
As a media giant, you have to.
You
Well,
do.
so
It's really
Nintendo
stupid.
was originally a playing card company, and
Mm.
they got interest in the porn and brothel industry for quite a while until it was outlawed, and then got back into video games. So
We should,
there's this has happened to a lot of older companies. Don't hate on the past too much. It is what it is.
Nintendo, a lot is going on there.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, we could talk about Nintendo and there's, but yeah, you know what? Like, history happened. You know, we're there for it. Like, I worry about the now and what's going on. But something I did want to point out about this entire conversation, I know we've gone so far outside of realm of TTRPG or anything, but I think that it's really,
we just follow the trend.
I think it's really important that we have these sorts of conversations too, because it goes towards the idea of like world building right now. In order to build a religion within, like, homebrew a religion, it's really helpful to understand where religions came from and why that happens, and what the people of organized religions, both mono and polytheistic, how they think, because, you know, D&D is a polytheistic world.
Yeah, and there's it's also like our social economic conversations as well go into play with homebrewing and creating world building as well, because you don't want every single one of your continents to act and behave the same. They've got to act and behave differently for the different developmental structures of how those nations came to being. Like, they're not going to have the same history, so they should not be behaving the same way. How are they going to be behaving with each other as well? Like, what's the histories behind the nations? Have they always been allies? Are they allies now, but it's tenuous? Like, what's going on there? And oftentimes, one of the best examples you can get for any of this world building is the world you're living in. So study history, go read up on those social economic books, and have fun with all of it, knowing that you'll be able to create a world that feels realistic for your players, and it'll get them involved in it. But also realizing that your players will destroy it.
I do like the so I agree. Fields just wrote in one major thing about religion in D&D is that there are real world effects and consequences with reactions from the gods, and lots to work with. And I do like, unlike the world we live in, that there is lots of interaction with the gods. Regular interaction. The homebrew world we're working in, we have a cleric that has hit their divine intervention 4 times now in the last year of play. 4 times.
That is insane.
It is. That's so cool, it has been game shattering. The idea. You think Wish is broken?
Yeah.
Get 4 gods to walk it, because she doesn't just have gods; she has 4 gods. So just walk in and fuck it. Yeah, no, it's a whole thing. So yeah, no, I do like that. But you know, that's, I mean, and speaking of Buddha, my DM, you know, we have these sorts of conversations all the time, and that's where, you know, I every once in a while I see a little something that we discussed kind of like peppered into the thing, and I just, you know, notice, mention, move on. But it is, I think, you know, one of those things that's really important in the idea of creativity and world building, to have, maybe not. One of my best friends growing up was a philosophy minor, so
poor thing.
Been there. Dude, my life. You want to talk about some of the conversations I have? So I can be.
I'm
pretty
talking
patient
about your
with
friend
that stuff.
being a philosophy minor. Poor thing.
He was a philosophy minor with a agribusiness major.
Ooh.
So yeah, interesting
one of
mix.
my most intense moments was arguing for existentialism against a nihilist on the side of a mountain while on acid. That was.
That's a lot to work with.
That is a lot to work with.
I was fighting for existentialism pretty hard. Because he was like, nothing matters. And it was like so intense. I had a friend of mine that was there. He was all like, I felt like it was like the forces of good and evil fighting on the side of a mountain. It was just like, because he was arguing that nothing mattered, and I was arguing that meaning is ascribed. And so I just kind of got into that pretty hard.
Oh.
So yeah, I can get pretty passionate about existentialism sometimes, I guess.
Well, good
You gotta
stuff.
have passions, man.
We have hit that point where our old bodies with regular work weeks need to relax and gain the energy so we can survive tomorrow. That's where we're at.
I have to be up in 5 hours.
He has to be up in 5 hours.
Wow.
I'm gonna go express my writing mind because you all bloody well got me thinking about it now. Thanks.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
At least we're doing something fucking right with this shit.
Yeah.
All right. Final announcements. On Thursday, head over to our YouTube, where the next TTRPG campaign is starting with the Thursday crew, and it will be just the first hour of it. As we've discussed, this guy's health is crap, and it needs to be managed by not working 2 full-time jobs. So we've altered our strategies.
Okay.
So go check out our YouTube on Thursday at 8 p.m. MT. It's inside that tree link right there. You can follow it on through and give us a follow on there for the premiere of the first session where you're going to meet all our wonderful little characters. And again, I'm playing a raccoon. I will be a raccoon in that. I'm very excited. Oh, we got a bunch of... Oh, taxes. Okay, you know what? You're here. Would you like to make your final thing telling me what item I should reduce because you've paid off 10 of our taxes and inflation?
What item we should reduce?
Yes. You get to reduce it by 10. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Andrean Mead. That's tasty.
I was
Medium
looking at
legendary
that.
burger. That's a good one.
I think I'm gonna do the patriotic thing. I think the liberty.
Going for the liberty. Excellent.
I think the liberty. I think we do the patriotic thing.
All right, liberty is being reduced by 10 gold. It is now 2,980 gold for a cup of liberty.
That's right.
That's
For
right.
Super Earth.
For Super Earth. On that wonderful note, next week, Tuesday, we'll probably either be going into Super Earth or doing some BGE3. BGE3? Where did that come from? BG3? Well, we'll figure it out. Probably Super Earth, to be honest.
Baldur's
We're having
Gate
fun with it.
Extra.
Extra. With porns turned on. Oh, gosh.
Yes.
We just turned all the clothes off.
Yeah, just turn all the clothes off, take the underwear off, and you just get a nice little
We're gonna
session
get banned
the
on
whole
Twitch. Let's go.
Woo!
We're going to
do
kick.
it.
We're gonna get banned on Twitch. Go to kick.
Get banned on Twitch so we can go to kick, yo. Even though we're only now doing 6 streams a week on Twitch. Just
Okay,
so
so I think that we would probably get better reception if we did this stream instead of doing it on Twitch. If we did it on Pornhub.
Here's the sad thing. He's
I think I'm right.
He's absolutely
I'm right.
I genuinely
I think
agree
we'd get a
with
better
that.
reception overall if we streamed live on Pornhub for
I
this.
think I could probably email them and say, hey, if we moved our TTRPG content over there and and the fellas just didn't have their shirts on the whole time, would you pay us?
I'd do that.
Here's one of the things that I think one of my Sunday table players would leave the table if we did that. Which it's
Like,
within his
how do
rights, it's his beliefs, and I'm okay with that. Which is why we're not doing
Okay,
that.
now
because
here's
I
my
don't wanna
question.
lose that
Would it be
player.
worth it?
No.
Damn it.
No,
No.
I don't even need to hesitate on that answer. No, it would not be worth it.
I think it's a good idea.
Yes, but this player is too good. Too good. Too good to lose.
They wouldn't
brilliant.
be okay with us streaming on Pornhub?
I would be able to move the Thursday campaign to Pornhub easily, but the Sunday campaign, no. The Thursday, here's the thing,
Well,
all right?
so you,
the
but
Thursday
the thing
campaign
is Twitch
King
doesn't
Tower.
do the exclusivity thing anymore.
It doesn't.
Twitch isn't doing the exclusivity thing anymore. That's why Sykkuno has gone back to Twitch and started streaming there every once in a while. He's streaming on because he's not exclusive with YouTube
Thanks,
anymore.
Mr.
He's going back to doing
Westenfield.
both. Was that?
We're moving to YouTube, basically. It's just going to be chat stuff
have a
on,
good night,
on
bud.
Twitch. Have a good night. Sleep well. Thanks for popping in and giving us some
Later.
fun stuff to talk
Appreciate you.
about. Early Tom and Jerry. Good stuff.
Right.
Good call out. Oh, it's ads. Ads have just started. But yeah, we should call it there.
Okay.
It is, yeah, it's past 10, and
Yeah.
I see Spen's getting the sleepy eyes. I'm getting the sleepy body.
All right. Well, have a good night, gentlemen.
Yes,
I'll
thank
let you shut it all down.
We'll call it all out. See you on Thursday at 8 p.m. on YouTube, and then, as always, on Sunday at also, actually, that's at 7 p.m. now. But
Oh.
yeah, that's at 7 p.m. A more reasonable hour to be closing out your weekend and getting ready for the start of the week. And it's only an hour long. So come on by at 7 p.m. on Sundays as well to enjoy the tales of the Chronicles of Nathriel. We've been out of
It
Tales
just
of Andrea for a
feels cozy.
It is cozy, right? It's super cozy. It's great. Our first one aired, and it's already done better than all the others. Although someone went in and freaking gave it a dislike. I don't know who that turd is. But screw you guys. It didn't work. We're still on the front page and everything. Alright. Signing off. See you later, VOD Squad. You delights. Where's that end screen button?
The end may have closed for now. We hope you met a friend this go around. Tired and blurry you may be. We hope your minds are full from this revelry. May peace follow you out. May you return for more giggles and